Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt here. Welcome to another tip, trick, and technique session. This week we're going to talk about a topic that I've noticed a lot on lots of websites and YouTube channels and everything else. And I figured it was my time to run through my explanation of it. And it is LCR panning. So what is LCR panning? Okay, so LCR sort of gives it away in a way. If you break it out, LCR, L is left, C is center, R is right. And we're talking about panning. Okay, so this is placement of your instruments in the stereo field. So this is a concept that a few engineers use and a lot of people like to talk about, where you basically lock your instrumentation into one of those three positions. It's either in the center, it's fully to the left, or it's fully to the right, and nothing is in between, and nothing is in any different position than that. Now, the theory behind that is that they say that it creates a wider mix and it keeps things quite clear and very open sounding. Okay, so the catch to it obviously is if you've got a lot of instrumentation, you're going to have a lot of potential things stacked on top of each other in the same place. So you need to be really good with your EQ and compression to get them to sit nicely. But it's not impossible, obviously, because a lot of people do it. I recommend the concept when it comes to a small setup of tracks. So you've got a basic, say, rock band style setup where there's a couple of guitars, a bass guitar, a singer, and a drummer. Maybe some keyboards, a couple of little things in there like that, but a very bare bones, simple rock, gritty rock sort of style track. This can work really well in. Or you might even have some electronic instrumentation or like an EDM style song, but again, with very little instrumentation. I find if you got a lot of tracks, you may struggle with this, so it's going to be very hard. But a lot of people basically, that's their rule. They do that all the time. They never budge with it, and it is just the way they do it. Everything is in that form. So how do you make your decisions of where things are placed? Well, obviously, it's going to be taste, but you're going to have some sort of guideline rules here. Generally, you're going to have your vocal in the center. Pretty much 99% of the time, you're also going to have your bass in the center and your kick in the center and your snare in the center. They're generally going to be locked in there. If you want to get weird, you can move things around, but generally that's where things are going to stay. Guitars, you're probably going to have them panned out to the right and left, or keys, same. If it's a stereo instrument, you're going to pan it fully out left and right. And BGVs, again, you will pan them out left and right. So as I'm saying, everything is going to be super wide here. Really, really wide. Now, if you don't want your BGVs wide, then basically they need to sit in the center if you're going to follow this rule. So they're going to be sitting right on top of your lead vocal if they're singing at the same time. So you're going to have to do some work with your volumes, your faders, and the EQs and stuff to dull them down a bit to sort of sit them behind the vocalist, even though they're in the center. And generally that's how they want it to work, right? So the important parts are all in certain spots and in the center. And if you're doing automation, you're going to move things in. Like if you got a guitar solo, suddenly the guitar will be in the center and then can go back out to the sides. And that's the general concept of it. So let's have a quick look at it in a mix. It's obviously a short topic because it's a very simple process. It's a rule. If you want to follow this as a rule, and let's just check it out and see what it does. All right, so I've got a mix of a song here, and it already had some panning stuff on here, but what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to adjust these pans to suit the LCR mixing style. So we're going to go through from one to the other, and we've got an overhead here, which we have panned fully left and right. So that's fine. We've got a kick drum sitting in the center. Got a snare sitting in the center. Got tom 1 fully to the left. Now we've got tom 2 and tom 3. So in an LCR panning situation here, I would have tom 3 fully right and tom 2 I'd place in the center. That way, if we get a tom run, we're still going to go bum, 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 across the stereo field. Our hi-hat is going to go in the center. We have some ambience and things like that, all pan left and right, some mono 1 center, all left and right. So our drum tracks are good to go in LCR panning. So just scroll along. Our bass guitar here, we've got it in the center. We've got a couple of duplicates here and even a stereo reamping one that is left and right. And our effects as well, some effects there. Parallel bass is in the center. Okay, now we come along to our guitars. Okay, so we've got 2 acoustic guitars giving us a stereo sound. So they're fully left and right. We've got another 2 acoustic guitars here that are in the center. And that is muted. Okay, so then we have a couple of electric distorted guitars here, and they were stereo, but what I've done is I have panned the 2 of them together because they're stacked to create sort of like one guitar sound, and I've got them panned all the way to the left. So I've in theory converted this stereo guitar to a mono guitar and panned it fully to the left. And then on the flip side, we've got another pair of stereo distorted guitars that again I've converted mono and panned them fully to the right. And these 2 tracks here are muted, so they're not used. So forget those. So we have a stereo guitar here, fully left and right. And we have one here that is panned slightly to the left. So we would need to make a decision on this one here of what we want it to be. So let's put it in the center for now, but we may need to adjust that to be left or right if we so choose. Okay, we've got a delay effect here that is actually been narrowed in. So to adhere to the rule, we need to pan that out fully left and right, or have made it mono and in the center. So our keys we're going to place in the center. And our effects are all panned. Some of these are not used. Okay, we've got no, that's muted. Okay, we've got our vocal tracks here in the center, some duplicates, and again, we've got some effects here that are panned in. So let's take them fully out. And we've got a BGV there that is sitting in the center. All right, so all of our buses again are all pan left and right. So everything now adheres to the LCR panning. So now what we get is, if we listen, this is our mix in LCR panning. So everything seems to have a place in the mix. Let's see if there's any spots that may be slightly problematic. So our vocals are obviously going to be fine. Well, let's just have a listen when the BGVs come in.
This time, don't look at me that way. I told you.
Okay, so they're obviously harmonies up, and it's been mixed in a way that to me it sounds fine being in the center on basically stacked with the lead vocal, because they're quite different. You can hear them quite differently, and they seem to be okay there. All right, so let's check out a spot where there's some extra guitar parts here, because we've obviously got distorted guitars going and there's some lead parts.
The funny life we live, I'm not sure what is wrong. Oh, why'd you do that? Oh, why'd you say that? Oh, why, it can't be. Oh, man. He's wrong. Oh, why'd you do that? Oh, why'd you say that? Oh, why, it can't be. Oh, man.
Okay, so that seems to be okay. I'm not sure if I'm 100% happy with that guitar part being, that lead part being on the vocal, but it's different enough that it is working okay. So what I'm missing here is I'm not sure if I'm hearing the piano as much, so I'm just going to mute the guitar for a minute and just...
He's wrong. Oh, why'd you do that? Oh, why'd you say that? Oh, why, it can't be. Oh, man. It took too long. It's the wrong time now. I'm feeling rather cold. You know my ways. I said all I was, lost my way.
So the keyboards are not standing out that much, so you probably need to EQ that a little bit better, but we don't want it, because it's sitting in the middle, we also don't want it to overtake the vocal layer, so we don't want it to clash. But there's really, in an LCR panning situation, there's really nowhere else to put it, because we've got this guitar, acoustic guitar, that's stereo. The only other option we would have is that we would need to pan the acoustic guitars to one side and put the keys on the other side. So we could try that. So let's just pull it fully right for the keys. And we will move both of these acoustics fully over to the left.
It took too long. It's the wrong time now. I'm feeling rather cold. You know my ways. I said I lost my way that night.
So that sort of works in a way. It gets it out of the vocal and it's more present because I can hear it in my right ear. The only problem I have with it is it's the keys are playing a lot less than the acoustic guitar. So the mix keeps pushing me over to the left-hand side because there's just a lot more going on with those acoustic guitars than the piano. There was periods there where the piano just stopped and did nothing and the acoustic guitars kept going. So in that regard, I'm not 100% happy, and the acoustic guitars I felt sounded better in stereo as it was. So this is where you've got to make some hard decisions with LCR panning, because you really got no other options here. You've got to lock it into left, right, or center. That's the rules of LCR panning if you want to adhere to it, and if you feel that's the way to go. All right, so there's my explanation of LCR panning. Hopefully that's clear. If you didn't understand it before, hopefully you do now. It's one of those things that some people, like I say, like to adhere to, and they do it on all their mixes. I'm personally not convinced of that, and I will be doing a video coming up where I'm going to explain why I don't actually adhere to LCR panning and why I don't use it. Okay, or why I adapt it, because I understand the concept of it, but I'll give you my explanation of how I do things and why I do it, and how I take that LCR panning concept, but not lock myself into it and use it to build a basis to build further things around that. So I'll be doing that in a video coming up in the future. So anyway, that's LCR panning. Try it out on your next mix, see what you feel with it. If you like it, if you don't, leave some comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell for notifications so that you don't miss any videos as I release them. And if you'd like any training covered, if you'd have anything that you would like me to explain or teach, then please place that in the comments, because I'm happy to do videos for people and to help out where I can. And I'm always looking for new ideas of things to cover off in my videos. So let me know. Hopefully it's been helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.